So for the single women, what are some of the issues that you're seeing from the people who are writing in? I know the married women, they like, sis, I don't know how to tell them, but what are the single women going through?
The interesting thing is that women across the board have the same issue. We don't know how to communicate what we want. We are having bad sex, again, because we don't know how to communicate. And then I get a lot of single women asking questions about hoe phases. You know, should I have a hoe phase or what?
There are women that write in and say, "Hello, Miss Lady, should I have a hoe phase?"
There are, and usually it's women who either are newly divorced.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm like, make it make sense. I don't get it.
Newly divorced,
okay.
Or women who were heavily religious. So
they feel like they need to go through this. So they need to experience this.
So they missed out on all the things that a lot of people do in their 20s and their 19s. So now they're like 30 and 40 and they're trying to figure themselves out. So I get questions about hoe phases.
What's your advice, Ms. Ashley? What you tell them? Going out there?
I think that...
Take it for a ride.
I do. I think...
Bend the block. No, sis, do not bend the block.
I think that every woman should have a hoe phase. Now, hoe phases look different for everybody.
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum. A hoe phase does not mean just go and, bust it wide open for anybody.
Clarify for the people. Look at that camera. Where she needs to look in this camera.
A hoe phase does not mean just go and bust it wide open for any and everybody. That's not what it means. Hoe phases are learning phases, right?
Okay.
I think there are times when you learn about what you like, who you like, right? It's a learning experience because you are only focusing on yourself versus in relationships and dating, you're trying to focus on you and the other person. But I do think whole phases build character.
Now, you don't have to explain that one.
They build character.
What? Now, how? Come on now, break it down, please.
Character. I learned a lot about myself.
Tell the people.
In my, I think I have an ongoing forever whole phase.
It's continuous.
It's continuous.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm 37 and single, so why not? But I learned a lot about myself in terms of what I will not allow just in relationships and in the bedroom, right? These are my non-negotiables. These are my sexual non-negotiables. You have to be able to do X, Y, and Z. This is what works for me. So if you are not able to do this, this is not going to work. I know how to get me off. This is how to do that. So I need for you to be able to be on board with that. And if you're not, that's fine. Have a good day.
Go on about your life.
Yeah.
Did you have that confidence pre-Sex with Ashley?
No. So pre-Sex with Ashley, I was 29. And technically, when I started Sex with Ashley, I was on my own journey to kind of figure out what I wanted. Because in my 20s, even though people say, and in my 20s, I had a whole phase, but it wasn't like I was just doing things because that's what people wanted to do. The men who I was with wanted to do versus me in my 30s doing things based on because this is what I want to do. So in my 30s, I was more on like a self-discovery type thing. So 28-year-old, 10-year-old Ashley, 10 years ago, Ashley would not have been this confident. I would not have had the voice to be able to be like, this is what I need. If you can't do those things, although I like you, this is not going to work.
Yeah, I don't think, no. Maybe to my husband, but that's gutsy. Like, that's like...
Right, because like, okay, so if...
And not to my husband, because you good, baby. You good, baby. Clarify.
Clarify that. But if I am dating to marriage, right? That means when I get married, if you're monogamous, this is the only sex I'm going to have to death, if that's how you believe in marriage, right? That's a long time, right? So I need to make sure that if this is the only person I'm supposed to fulfill my sexual needs, I need to make sure that this is going to work, right?
But how much of it is just being, I don't want to say equally yoked, because I feel like when you say equally yoked, you automatically think religion, and we're totally talking about sex. But that's all I can think of is equally yoked. Does it really just come down to that? Because my sexual desires at 36 are probably going to be different than they will be at 46.
Correct.
So it doesn't necessarily matter that he's willing to do what I want him to do today. It really matters that he cares about pleasing me.
Correct.
That he values, that.
Correct.
So is it really just going through the dating or selection process, knowing that you value a partner who values you, not necessarily, because I didn't have to have sex with him to know the type of man that he was. Correct. You know what I'm saying? Correct. I think that some of those values, it's not just the physical act of sex, it's, like you said, it's learned. So if you have a man that cares about you, he's going to figure that thing out. It's not just going to be, well, this is how I show up, take it or leave it. So I think the foundation of it is having the partner that values, puts your needs, correct, not first, but values your needs, and
and that's important.
And not just looking for good sex,
right? And that's important, especially with women. Cause heterosexual women are the least group who have orgasms. Mm-hmm. Gay women have more orgasms than us. Gay men have more orgasms than us, and we are.
Almost said assgasm. I was gonna say, is that a thing?
It is.
What kind of slip was that? That must be a real word. Okay.
But we are dead last, right? We're dead last. And that's because in a lot of cases, men either don't know how to please us because we're not vocal, or they're not that interested. Because it's easier for men to, have orgasms than this for us, because their sexual response cycle is different than ours. So we need a little more, prepping up, a little warming up. So it takes more effort and time. So that way you have to have someone who is really interested in you and wanting to please you. That's important, because if they're not, you're going to have a case of a lot of people who, write me, we have sex, but I don't have orgasm. And I ain't had an orgasm in 10 years. Like, sis, 10 years.
There's a lot of women who haven't had orgasms and don't know, have not. But I know you know. It's the whole thing. We ain't even going to go into that. Safe whole phase, though. How do you do it safely? Because we're bombarded with the statistics, all the things. We know people are out in these streets not protecting themselves. How do I, because in my opinion, as a single woman, how I always looked at it, I always knew that just because this man that I'm dating, just because I'm not having sex with him doesn't mean he's not having sex. Correct. Right? So I understand that. But I also felt like, and this was probably unrealistic, but I felt like once I am having sex with you, you owe me protection. That's how I felt. Not that we're monogamous unless we've had that conversation, but you owe me to be safe in whatever it is that you're doing. That is not, that's like a unspoken rule that people don't even follow. That's not even a thing. So how do you learn yourself and have this character building whole phase without risking it all? So I'm a big advocate of women carrying condoms. Okay. Right? I have buku condoms in my house. I don't do anything without condoms. And in even terms, even if somebody you are like regularly dating, but y'all not exclusive, you still need to wear condoms, because you never know what somebody's doing when they're not in your presence. And most of the people who get STDs and HIV, they come from monogamous relationships. So the other person is out there doing stuff and you have no idea they're doing. So condoms, regular testing. So if you're going to be out here doing, risky things, and no shade, I do risky things sometimes too, you need to be able to get tested regularly so you can at least know what's going on. A lot of times we as women, and I've been guilty of this too in the past, we'll go from man to man, past relationship to past relationship, and no type of testing in between. We don't know what's going on down there. So that condoms, testing, and conversations, just as, sometimes, people will lie, but a lot of times people are truthful. If you say, what's going on? Are you dating other people? And then I always go with the assumption like you do. I always assume that men are sleeping with other people. You having sex with somebody, and ladies, you could be 90-day rule if you want to. He gonna wait 90 days to sleep with you,
but not have sex in general
out here in these streets. But speaking of the communication and do you recommend that women keep this whole phase a secret? Because that's a whole conversation. Like, I personally feel like I don't think that I've met a grown man while I was dating that asked me like how many partners you've had. But I think that that's a conversation that we talk about. Like, do you share that information? Do you ask that question? What's your advice on like full disclosure?
I've never been asked that question. No, I'm lying. I haven't asked that question as a grown up, probably in the last couple of years actually. I didn't answer because this is my view on it. Who I was with before you shouldn't matter, as long as we get tested, I'm clean or whatever, whatever it is, and you or whatever. who you with before me doesn't matter. As long as it's not my sister, my best friend.
I know. I can point out.
Yeah, I don't particularly care. So I don't really answer those questions because I feel like, why you want to know that? Because you might get your feelings hurt. So don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.